The children were removed due to the DV and the drug use. I had no friends, wasn't even allowed to see my family. My children would want to come and sit next to me, and he was very jealous. I was using ice, pretty much an everyday thing for myself and my partner at the time. Dogs haven't been in our lives at all. It was a huge shock to me. I was not allowed to see my kids for 2 weeks. That was really hard. I was, on the phone begging to my caseworker, please, I just need to see them, I just need to talk to them, I need to let them know it's okay. And I was managing by, not wanting to get out of bed, smoking, more of the ice. It was just my way of getting through that day. I had to make that decision whether it was my kids or, the lifestyle I was in. And I mean, obviously, my kids were more important.
Before my daughter was taken into care, myself and her mother were living together. The relationship wasn't working. There was a lot of stress on both of us. We were smoking pot, we were drinking a little bit. There was domestic violence, mental health issues, there was postnatal depression. There'd been reports made right from the stay in the maternity ward all the way through to my daughter's removal at 14 months. And her mother was taken to Piala, mental health wing of the hospital, where she was involuntarily scheduled. The police called docs, and because domestic violence had been alleged against myself, I wasn't allowed to keep my daughter at home, and not knowing who was caring for her was uncomfortable.
I was in a domestic violence relationship. I had to stay home, and when each day he came back from work, he had to see what I've done in the house. Wasn't allowed friends, wasn't allowed to study, wasn't allowed a job. I was 4 months pregnant and was beaten until the baby died inside me. And then, because of the domestic violence, docs took my son away from me. I was depressed, suicidal. I had no support, no one.
So yeah, just a lot of drug abuse, which led to violence and fighting, and it was just a poor place to live in for children. Yeah, that's where docs come into our lives. We were given many warnings. I'm glad that doc stepped in, because that was the help that I needed.
I got taken when I was younger, when I was a baby. And that's sort of the reason why my kids were taken off me. There was other things too, like drug problems, alcohol problems, domestics. My daughter was taken off me, and then my son was taken from the hospital when he was 2 weeks old.
I found out about NEWPIN through my caseworker, and first time I went there I was very anxious and nervous, but the people there were great, and I felt a bit awkward because I didn't have my youngest child with me. But as soon as he came with me to the centre, I thought it was the best way for me to be able to build that trust again with my youngest son and the bond, and spend, just time with him. I've done a few groups at NEWPIN. I do my therapy every Tuesday. There's, girls there that are going through exactly what I'm going through, and I enjoy doing it. I always make sure I'm in on Tuesdays.
I'd asked my doc's caseworker if she knew of a domestic violence perpetrators course, and she gave me the number for NEWPIN. And even though it wasn't a domestic violence course, when I spoke to the coordinator and he told me what NEWPIN was about, it was certainly something that was going to be beneficial to me. And having so many people together in the one place who are familiar with the child protection system and all the services that are available to people wishing to address problems is very helpful. I had a hard time finding a lot of that information until I began to attend NEWPIN. And the series of modules of courses have certainly improved my understanding of a parent's role, of a father's role. And I've taken something from every part of it. Some of the modules have led me to have a look at myself and the parenting I received, and thought about what do I want to take from that and give to my daughter, and what can I improve. The emotional support from the staff and the other members really helped me to stay focused. It would have been very easy to just become depressed.
I was referred from Catholic Care as a part of the care plan, and I rang NEWPIN and they asked me if they could have an interview. They introduced me, they showed me around, they made me feel welcomed. I really didn't want to go, but by the time the interview was done, I felt happy, I felt comfortable. The groups were good because you knew you weren't alone. There's other people out there that are going through the same circumstances as you.
My caseworker in docs, she referred me to NEWPIN. The visits that she'd had through the years, she could see that I was trying. I knew I was trying. They gave me a 6-month restoration course. It was a plan that they put into place. Certain criteria you had to meet, clean urines and group therapy at NEWPIN. You get the feeling that people care there, honestly care. Within NEWPIN, they're special people. They're very professional. They use the words like empathy, simple word. I didn't know what it meant till NEWPIN, you know. And now I love telling it to people. Love explaining it to people, what it is and how it works. Yeah, it's them things that made me want to keep going there and keep progressing, and you're not pushed there, you're just guided.
I think I have learned a lot of new skills with managing with my children's behaviour and what they need and want. And that's all from, the support around me and from also the programs that I've been doing. The difference between seeing my youngest child at NEWPIN and from seeing them at Docs is that you're not in this little cramped room with someone sitting behind you, writing down everything that's happening. Being at NEWPIN, it's how it should be, like with you and your children. You can run around the backyard and interact with your child. And even if I need advice or support with my other two, they're there to help you and give you advice. It doesn't matter if it's not about the youngest one. My other two love going to NEWPIN during the holidays.
My daughter enjoys it. It's beneficial for her on a lot of different levels. The social bonds that she's formed there with the other members' children and the staff are all wholesome and healthy. Some of my contact visits were scheduled at the NEWPIN Centre, and the quality of the contact was much improved. My daughter enjoyed being at the NEWPIN Centre much more than being in the doc's office, and my interaction with her was a lot more natural and a lot more relaxed.
As soon as they accepted me into the program, the contacts happened straight away, and I learnt how to interact with him. I had to discipline, which that was big key, because when I was a child, we used to get smacked, and they taught me how to listen to my child and how to understand him. My son is 7 years old. He hasn't been here for 3.5 years, and from this day still wants to come and visit.
I think it was about 3 weeks I didn't get to see him for, and then I started getting visits with him at the Doc Centre, which was just an empty office room, a couple of broken toys. Every time you went in there, it just reminded you of how much of a bad parent you were. Put into this room with nothing and sort of been told to help yourself more or less, and you can't. Yeah, and then it was visits at NEWPIN, and just a massive difference. The kids just, they had smiles on their faces, and for the first time in that whole time, they realised that they could trust what I was saying. Once you see how much fun and your kids are really having a good time, and you feel like for once that you're doing the right thing. I've learnt so much more about what they need. There's a lot more than just putting food on the table for a child and clothes on their back. They teach you to interact with your children, getting down at your kids' level, getting down to their level and speaking to them like you care, And I love speaking to a new dad at NEWPIN, just saying good day to them and telling them that there's hope.
I really love NEWPIN. It's a great place for me and for my son to be. So building that trust and the bond, it was just very easy to do it at NEWPIN.
NEWPIN helped me to realise that it was possible, that I could overcome all the problems and achieve restoration. My daughter was restored to my sole care. When the magistrate read out in court that there was to be a restoration, both the docs workers who were in the courtroom looked at me and they were happy with the outcome.
One little program has changed so many lives, not just the lives of the parents, the lives of the children. If it wasn't for NEWPIN, I wouldn't be here today. Wouldn't have my son. I think I would have committed suicide.
Yeah, the kids were restored straight back to me. Got full custody as a lone single parent, yeah.
I think I would have still been on the drugs. I think I would still be on the alcohol. They took them away, and that's how I realised that I need to wake up to myself and my kids come first before anything else. I am proud. I'm proud. I'm a proud mum, and, you know, it took me time, but I am. I'm a really proud mum.
You hear about docs taking kids. It should be about NEWPIN that returns kids. You know, it should be as big as.